Hello friends, today we are going to learn about the interaction of accelerator and multiplier. To begin with, let us clear our basic concepts. In macroeconomics, theories of output and employment occupy a very prominent position. There are two theories, one contributed by classical economics and another by J.M. Keynes and his followers, generally named Keynesian economics. There are ideological differences in both the theories. Classical economics propounded the doctrine of full employment, consider only one function of money and that as medium of exchange, and recommended laissez-faire policy. That means no government intervention in economic activities. On the other hand, Keynes' theories are based on the preposition that all the economics face the problem of demand deficiency, hence there is always underemployment in the economy. Underemployment means that some resources will always remain unutilized in the economy due to lack of aggregate demand. Unlike classical economics, Keynes emphasized on the store of value function of money and propounded the theory of liquidity preference theory of money. His summation is that due to income getting divided between consumption and saving, consumption, that is C, is always less than income or Y. Moreover, marginal propensity to consume or MPC is always less than 1 and MPC is lower in higher income countries or higher income classes. Therefore, left on the market, economics will always be on the verge of recession or depression. Hence, he recommends a strong government intervention in the economy. In fact, he considers government economic role or intervention in economic activities as a precondition for development of an economy. Due to problem of demand deficiency, underemployment will always exist in the economy, but the extent of it can be decreased by government intervention. To back his concept, he propounded the theory of multiplier, wherein he explained the impact of small investment by government on the income and consumption level of the economy. Later on, Professor Clark developed the theory of acceleration, wherein he is explaining the effect of increase in national income on the rise in capital investment spending in the economy. This lecture will highlight the theories of multiplier and acceleration, and finally will explain you the total impact on income, consumption and output due to multiplier and acceleration interacting in the economy. Let us begin with the theory of investment multiplier given by Professor J.M. Keynes. The theory of multiplier occupies an important place in the modern theory of income and employment. The theory was developed first by F.A. Khan in early decades of 20th century. Professor J.M. Keynes redefined it and developed the theory of multiplier, wherein he explained the concept of multiplier as an increase in total income due to an initial increment in investment and employment. Therefore, Khan's multiplier is known as employment multiplier, whereas the theory propounded by Keynes is called as investment or income multiplier. In his theory, he explains that the final change in income output or employment is multiple times that of the original change in income output or employment. He explains this with the help of an example. Multiplier is defined as an initial change in autonomous investment expenditure will lead to multiple times change in final income generated in the economy. So, multiplier is the ratio of increment in the total income to increment in the initial investment. This is called investment multiplier and is denoted by the symbol M. The equation is expressed as the change in Y or income is equal to the value of M multiplied by initial investment, or simply multiplier is equal to change in income divided by change in the initial investment. For example, if in an economy investment of rupees 1000 crore is made initially, then the increase in the income will not be just by rupees 1000 crore but more than that. The number of times the income has changed will determine the multiplier. Let us say that the investment of 1000 crores bring a change of income of rupees 2000, then the multiplier is 2. If the income increases by rupees 4000 crore, then the multiplier is 4, and so on and so forth. The next point to be discussed is how it happens. This can be explained with the help of three approaches. The first approach is the intuitive approach. Keynes discovered that an initial investment on new factors leads to multiplied times increase in income. He explains this with an hypothetical example. For example, say government increases its investment by rupees 1000 crore for constructing a dam at some new place. This increase in investment means it spends on employment and factors of production. So, there is new employment generation in the economy. This employment generation will increase the national income immediately by rupees 1000 crore. This direct increase in income will generate expenditure in the economy depending on the marginal propensity to consume of the people. Marginal propensity to consume is the amount of additional income spent on consumption by the economy. Let us assume that MPC is 80%, which means 80% of the increased income will be spent on the consumption and remaining, that is 20%, will be saved. So, rupees 800 crores will be spent on consumption of goods and services. At macro level, one man's expenditure is another man's income. So, expenditure of 800 crore will lead to income generation of the same amount to someone in the economy. Now, in the economy, there is greater demand for all the goods and services, so production of all these goods and services have to increases. This leads to increased production and employment in the economy. So, an investment of rupees 1000 crore lead to generation of income of rupees 1000 in first round and rupees 800 crores in the second round. The total income generated is 2 rounds is 1800 crores. Now, all these who have received the income of rupees 800 will spend 80% of income, that is 640 crores on consumption. So, 640 crore gets added to income generation in the third round. That will further increase the production, employment and income in the consequent rounds. In this way, income generation keeps on getting added to the total income in the economy. This addition is called as the process of multiplier. If all the amount of income generated is added, then we come to the conclusion that the amount of money generated in the economy is equal to rupees 5000 crores. So, an initial investment of rupees 1000 crores can generate an income of rupees 5000 crore. So, the multiplier is 5. The income generated can be calculated with the help of mathematical formula, that is K is equal to 1 divided by 1 minus MPC. So, MPC here is 80%, that comes to 5. So, the multiplier is 5. An initial investment of rupees 1000 crore will lead to 5 times increase in the income. This is called as mathematical approach. The third way in which we can express this relation is called as the graphical approach. Thus, multiplier approach explains us that an initial investment will lead to multiple times increase in the income, output and employment depending on the value of the multiplier that in turn depends on the marginal propensity to consume. After understanding the process of multiplier, let us move towards the concept of acceleration. The way multiplier explains the effect of initial investment on the income, employment and output, in the same way principle of acceleration explains the effect of consumption on the capital investment in an economy. The acceleration principle is an economic concept. It establishes a connection between the rate of change of consumption and capital investment. According to the principle of acceleration, if demand for consumer goods increases, then the percentage change in the demand for machines and other investment required to produce these goods will increase much more. In other words, if income and therefore consumption increases, there will be a corresponding but magnified change in investment. Thus, the principle of acceleration explains the rate of change in the capital investment due to rate of change in the level of consumption. The principle of acceleration is also called as accelerator principle as it accelerates the demand for capital goods or services. Let us understand the concept of accelerator clearly. As income of the people increases, there is increase in their demand for consumer goods. In order to meet this increased demand, investment is required to increase the productive capacity of the country. But sometimes in the short run, entrepreneurs instead of increasing investment may adopt other techniques like increasing the working hours of the laborers or overworking of the existing machine, etc. These methods will increase the profits of the producer, which will motivate them to expand their business through new investment. This type of investment is known as induced investment. Thus, a rise in income leads to increase in induced investment. This is explained in principle of acceleration. The accelerator is the numerical value of the technical relation between an increase in income and the resulting increase in investment in capital goods. But here we have to remember that the investment in making of machines will increase faster than the products produced by these machines. This effect is measured through a functional relation between income and investment. In other words, acceleration measures the ratio between the induced investments to a net change in consumption expenditure. The acceleration principle can be measured with the formula of an accelerator being equal to a delta I or change in investment divided by delta Y or change in income. For example, suppose an increase in income in the economy leads to increase in demand for consumption goods of 20 crores. This requires an additional investment of rupees 40 crores in capital goods industries. That means the accelerator is 2. Accelerator coefficient can be more or less than 2, but it is always more than 0. If the demand for capital goods is comparatively high as compared to consumption goods, then accelerator coefficient will be positive and more than unity or 1. This is so because a small increase in consumption goods will lead to more than proportionate increase in capital goods, as the value of capital goods is more than that of the consumer goods and services. But in exceptional case, principle of acceleration may not work at all. For instance, say in an economy there is increase in demand for consumer goods or service, but this demand did not lead to any increase in demand for capital goods due to any reason. Suppose the country had unused machines in the economy. In such cases, there won't be any acceleration effect in the economy. Thus, acceleration principle depends on the assumption that any increase in consumption good will lead to increased demand for machines or capital goods producing these consumer goods. The extent of increase in capital goods due to increase in consumer goods depends on the capital output ratio. Capital output ratio is the extent of capital required to produce some definite amount of output in the industry or economy. Similarly, it also depends on the life of the machines, that is 5 years, 10 years, so on. So, if the life of the machine is 5 years, which means after 5 years, machines have to be replaced constantly to maintain some definite flow of consumer goods. This is called as replacement demand. Let us assume that the capital output ratio is 1:10 and the life of the machine is that of 10 years. In this case, the industry needs 100 machines to produce 1000 consumer goods as the capital output ratio is 1:10. If there is an increase in demand for the consumer goods by 10%, then demand for consumer goods will be 1100 in round 1. To produce this, there will be an increase in demand for capital goods by 20 machines. 10 machines being added to the total stock of capital and 10 machines for replacement. Thus, a 10% increase in consumer goods leads to 100% increase in capital goods. Thus, multiplier explains that an increase in investment will lead to increase in income and consumption, whereas accelerator says that any increase in income will accelerate the demand for capital goods and thus increase in investment. In the latter stages, some economists like P.A. Samuelson, J.R. Hicks, R.F. Harold and A. Hanson studied the two concepts together and concluded that multiplier and accelerator cannot work separately or on their own. They said that both these concepts integrate and lead the economy to faster growth. Economics conclude that the integration of accelerator and multiplier generates cyclical fluctuations in the economy. The effect of these two tools depends on the values of the accelerator and the magnitude of the multiplier. The relationship between the two can be explained that an initial change in the investment will bring multiple changes in income, and this is the multiplier effect, and this change in the income will ultimately increase the consumption expenditure, which will increase the demand for capital goods, that is accelerator. This increased demand for capital goods will increase the investment in the economy and the new round of multiplier and accelerator is generated. In this way, the changes continue in the economy, creating action and interaction. This process is supercumulative because an initial increase in any economic variable initiates other change and set off a snowball effect wherein the income and investment interact with each other to increase the impact of change at each successive level. So, till now we have learned independently the two principles of multiplier and that of acceleration. In latter stages of development of theory of economics, economics studied both the principles by combining their effects. This is called as interaction of multiplier and accelerator. Let us now understand how these principles act and interact to produce positive and negative changes in the economy. This interaction is named variously by economics, like some call it as a leverage effect or it is commonly known as super multiplier. Let us understand this interaction by taking a hypothetical example. But for that, we will have to assume that marginal propensity to consume is 50% and the acceleration coefficient is 2. Now, let us say that government brings a new investment of rupees 10 crores. This does not lead to any induced investment. Therefore, the total increase in national income in the first round will be equal to the initial investment of rupees 10 crores. This increase in income will increase the consumption in the second round. As the marginal propensity to consume is 50%, the induced consumption will be of rupees 5 crores in the economy. The induced investment in the second period will be rupees 10 crores as the acceleration coefficient is 2. Thus, the leverage effect, that is combination of multiplier and accelerator, will be 10 crores, that is initial outlay, plus 5 crores, that is multiplier effect, plus 10 crores, that is acceleration effect. So, the total change in the economy will be of rupees 25 crores in the second round. Now, in the third round, induced consumption will be 50%, that of 25 crores, that is 12.50, and the change in investment will be of 15 crores as the accelerator coefficient is 2. So, the total income generation will be 10 plus 12.50 plus 15, that is 37.50 crores. Continuing with the example, in the fourth round, the income generation reaches to its peak, and that is 41.25 crores due to the super multiplier effect, that is combined effect of multiplier and accelerator. After that, from fifth round, the income generated will start decreasing. This is so because marginal propensity to consume is only 50%. That means only 50% of the income is being used in consumption and remaining part of the income is saved. That means 50% of the income is not being spent. So, induced consumption increases only to that extent and it has effect on the generation of income in the successive periods. Thus, the main obstacle in the multiplier effect is the marginal propensity to save, especially in the expansion phases of the economy. At the same time, the expansion process is being intensified by the acceleration. Therefore, in the beginning, till some rounds, the income generation keeps on increasing, but after some time, because of our assumption of constant accelerator coefficient, the accelerator also weakens. This leads to fall in the rate of income generation in the economy. It's clear that on one hand, multiplier and accelerator increases the income generation in the economy, but then they set their own limits. This is so because there are various linkages like taxes, marginal propensity to save, etc. that reduces the growth of consumption and income. Moreover, with every increase in the capital stock, there is possibility that there is fall in the marginal efficiency of capital, making the investment unprofitable. These trends are used by the economics to explain trade cycle in the economy. So, an initial investment will be the begin with increase in income. The economy is the side of recovery. In successive rounds, income generation keeps on increasing because of the leverage effect. The economy moves from recovery to the phase of prosperity. Then in successive rounds, like in fifth round, in our example, the income generation start decreasing is the sign of recession in the economy. Further, Keynes and other economics like Samuelson, Higgs argue that multiplier and acceleration interaction generate various types of cycles and fluctuations like mild, damped and explosive. In addition, the income generation or the effect of multiplier and accelerator depends on the values of multiplier and accelerator assumed. If the values of K and A are high, then income generation will be high and the economy will not face downturn. The leverage effect is the confirmation of Keynesian theory that the country needs continuous government intervention through small doses of investment. Keynes says that when the effect of multiplier and accelerator starts weakening, the government should bring in new investment in the economy. This new investment will generate multiplier and accelerator effect in the economy and avoid recession. Therefore, investment is not one type activity but it is continuous process. Thus, the income generation or the effect of multiplier and accelerator depends on the values of multiplier and accelerator assumed. If the values of K and A are high, then income generation will be high and economy will not face downturn. Hence, study of leverage effect is considered to be path-breaking contribution in economics. To begin with, the study of both the principles has made possible an accurate analysis of the nature of the cyclical processes. In addition, explanation of turning points in trade cycle has become easy and effortless with the understanding of super multiplier. The leverage effect explains the importance of both consumption and investment in the economy. Therefore, both the effects, namely multiplier and accelerator, are important. Only one type of change cannot bring in desired changes in the economy. Hence, the study becomes a realistic study and the importance of it continues irrespective of changes like industrial revolution or global revolution and change economic parameters in the world. Dear students, hope now in today's lecture your concepts regarding the multiplier and accelerator are clear. Thank you.